Welcome to CBS Easy.
All right, future toppers, listen up. This is it, your ultimate last-minute revision guide. If you're ready to absolutely ace the Our Environment chapter in your board exams, you've come to the right spot. We're going to break this whole thing down, make it super simple and totally memorable. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's kick things off with a classic board alert. This is a question that has tripped up so many students in the past. Take a good look. The key word here, the one you absolutely cannot miss, is not. See that? It's a total exam trap, designed to make you second-guess yourself. So, what do you think? A, B, C, or D? Don't stress, we're going to circle back and reveal the answer once you understand the core concept behind it. So, here's our game plan. We've got 6 key missions. We'll hit the basics of ecosystems, decode the 10% rule for energy, map out food chains, expose a hidden danger called biological magnification, talk about our waste problem, and wrap it all up with the must-know takeaways to make you an exam topper. Let's go. All right, first stop, ecosystems, the basics. Seriously, if you get this part down, you're building a solid foundation to handle pretty much any question they throw at you. So what exactly is an ecosystem? Well, here is the official textbook definition. And here's a pro tip, learn this sentence by heart. Seriously, trust me on this. When they ask for a definition, spitting back the exact textbook wording is the quickest way to get those full marks. It's really just about how all the living things interact with all the non-living things in one area. And those living and non-living parts have names. It's super simple, really. You've got biotic components, that's all the living stuff, plants, animals, even tiny microorganisms. Then you have the abiotic components, all the non-living things like the temperature, the wind, the soil. The exam loves asking you to pick these out from a list. It's probably the easiest 1 mark you're going to get. Okay, on to our next mission. Now, this is a real topper secret, so listen close. If you can master how energy flows, you'll know the secret to why food chains can only be so long. It's a game changer. All right, you remember that tricky question from the beginning? The one with the keyword not? Well, here's the key to cracking it. Plants are amazing, right? But believe it or not, they only manage to capture and use about 1% of the sun's energy that hits them. Just 1%. So what's the percentage that's not converted? You got it, 99%. The answer was D. See, they were totally trying to catch you out. And that brings us to the famous, and I mean super important, 10% law. So after that initial 1% of sun energy is captured by plants, only about 10% of that energy gets passed on to the next level. So you're probably wondering, where does the other 90% go? Well, it gets used up. It's lost as heat, it's used for breathing, moving, digesting, the whole business of just staying alive. This huge energy drop at every single step is the #1 reason food chains don't go on forever. So these levels we're talking about are called trophic levels. It's just a fancy word for the steps in a food chain. Let's walk through it. At the bottom, step 1, you have producers. That's your plants. Step 2, you have primary consumers, the guys who eat the plants, the herbivores. Next up, step 3 are the secondary consumers, the carnivores that eat the herbivores. And at the very top, you might have step 4, the tertiary consumers. And remember, at each and every step, only 10% of the energy makes it through. Okay, mission number 3. Food chains and webs. And this is important. The board won't just ask you, what is a food chain? No way. They want to see you apply what you know to actually build the connections yourself. So let's do one right now. This is a real task pulled straight from a CBSE sample paper. Your challenge, create a food web using a list of organisms from a park. Let's see what you've got. And here they are. You've got grass, insects, frogs, snakes, peacocks, then trees, zebras, tigers, and vultures. A whole mix, right? So start connecting the dots in your head. Who eats what? Can you find a simple chain? How about a more complicated one? Remember, a food web is all about showing how many different chains link up. All right, how did you do? Here's one way you could have drawn it out. You see the simple one? Grass gets eaten by the zebra, and the zebra gets eaten by the tiger. But look over here, you've got this much longer chain. Grass to insect, to frog, to snake, all the way to the peacock. A food web is just showing how these different paths connect. The key to getting full marks here is to show at least 2 chains that are linked together. Moving on to a really important high-yield topic, This is a classic 3-mark question, so you'll want to pay extra close attention. We're talking about a hidden danger called biological magnification, and it's all about why the top of the food chain is actually in the most trouble. So here's how it all begins. Step 1. Some kind of harmful chemical, something that doesn't break down, like a pesticide, gets into the environment. Maybe it's sprayed on a farm, and then it washes into the soil and the rivers.
Okay, step 2. Those chemicals in the soil and water, they get sucked up by the plants, the producers. They can't tell the difference between the good stuff and the bad stuff. So now you have a tiny little bit of that chemical inside every single plant.
Then, step 3. An herbivore, let's say a rabbit, comes along. Now, that rabbit doesn't just eat one plant, right? It eats tons of them. And every single plant it eats has that tiny bit of chemical. The chemical doesn't just go away, it builds up. It gets stored in the rabbit's body. So the concentration is already getting higher. And finally, step 4, this is where it really gets scary. A carnivore, maybe a hawk, comes and eats a bunch of those rabbits. The hawk is now getting all the chemicals from every single rabbit it eats. The concentration doesn't just add up, it multiplies, it magnifies as it goes up each level. And that's biological magnification. The real kicker? Humans are at the top of so many food chains, which means we can end up with the highest, most dangerous concentration of all. Okay, let's switch gears to our 5th mission, our own impact, specifically our waste. This is a huge topic, and it's perfect for those value-based questions the examiners love to ask. Listen, this is a guaranteed question. You absolutely 100% have to know the difference between these two. It's non-negotiable. Biodegradable stuff like your apple core or a piece of paper can be broken down by nature's little helpers, the microorganisms. But non-biodegradable stuff like a plastic bottle, nope. It just sits there for hundreds of years, causing all sorts of problems. Phew, we have covered a ton of ground. So it's time for our final mission, the exam topper takeaways. Think of this as your rapid-fire, must-know checklist right before you walk into that exam hall. Go ahead, screenshot this right now. These are the golden rules. Number 1, energy only flows one way. It's a one-way street, no U-turns. 2, the 10% law is king. Only a tiny bit of energy moves up. 3, because of that energy loss, food chains are super short, maybe 4 or 5 steps max. 4, never forget the decomposers. They are nature's recycling crew. And 5, biological magnification hits the top of the food chain. That's us, the hardest. Got it? Good. Okay, I want to leave you with one final thing to chew on. This question is straight out of your textbook, and it's a good one. Let's imagine for a second that all our trash was biodegradable. Would that mean, poof, no more impact on the environment? Think about it. What actually happens when stuff decomposes? It's not just magic. It's a process, and it's designed to push you beyond just memorizing definitions. In the end, this whole chapter boils down to one powerful truth. Right from your NCERT book, everything is connected. Every single component of an ecosystem depends on the others. The living, the non-living, the big, the small, it's all one giant, interconnected web. If you can remember that one idea, you've grasped the very soul of this chapter. Now go out there and absolutely ace that exam. You've got this. Good luck.
Thank you for watching with us. See you next time.